I want to talk about the requirements in your Systematic Theology 1 class, Bibliology and Prolegomena. There are 4 different elements that you are graded on, 4 different things that I take into account in assigning your grade. And we'll just work through them in terms of priority. And let me also say that, I somewhat don't like grades, right? I don't think any professor who loves the material enjoys thinking about grades because, if you love the material, you want the students to love the material too and not be doing it for a grade. And I trust that you aren't doing it merely for a grade. You're doing it because you're here because you love the material, you want to serve Christ, and you want to get this knowledge. Nevertheless, the grade is part of just giving you feedback as to how well you are acquiring it. And I've tried to structure the grading in such a way that it really will reflect how well you're grasping the material. So if you just look through the different requirements here, the 4 different things that I'm assessing. Number 1, and we're doing this in order of weight in terms of the grading, 55% of your grade will be based on the reading summaries. You will do 1 reading summary every week, beginning with the first week. 1 is due the very first day. You will do 1 a week until the end of the class, with 1 exception. You get a week off with break. Now, thinking about the warp and woof of this class, like how is this class structured? Notice here that I'm not giving you 1 main paper that you're going to have to be thinking and planning about, or hopefully not procrastinating during the whole semester. No, this is a class that doesn't have any 1 main thing that is due, but rather it's a kind of weekly, weekly work. You just get in the habit. Every week you're going to do one of these 2-page summaries. They're not really hard, but they're not really easy either. And I think if you get in that habit of just every week doing this little bit of work, that's going to pay off in the long run. It's kind of like the drip approach. If you just keep putting drops of water in a bucket, eventually it fills up. And sometimes that's a lot more effective than just trying to fill it up all at once. Sometimes classes are structured where you just kind of coast and then you cram. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that to you. I don't think that's the best way for you to learn. It's certainly not an environment that is conducive to just reflecting and meditating and growing. I'd rather do the drip approach. 1 assignment due every week, and we just work that way throughout the semester. Now, a few things about this 2-page summary. I want it to be 2 pages, and I'm thinking that each page should have about 300 to 400 words, maybe even 500 words on it. So in the end, this means a 600 to 800, maybe even up to 1,000 word document that is due each week, where your goal in this document is simply to summarize the reading material. Now, here's some things I don't want. I don't want to see a lot of those words taken up with flowery, filling language where you just kind of go on and on about something that doesn't require any real learning or reflection. It just simply means you know how to use those words. No, I don't want just filler. What I want is good content. I want you to reflect on the reading, and I want you to explain what it actually said. I don't really want you, well, I do want it, but not in the 2 pages. Not really looking for a lot of reflection. Reflection is great. I really want to know what you think about these chapters, but only if you're willing to write more than 2 pages. If you want to write the 2-page summary and then give me a few paragraphs about what you thought of it, that would be great. I'd love it. Not requiring it, but you're welcome to do that, and I will read it and with great interest. But for the assignment, you need to just summarize what it said. You don't have to agree. I just am interested in your ability to summarize it. I also don't want any long quotes, or for that matter, really any quotes at all. You don't need to quote the material. I know what it says. I read it. I produced videos about it. I'm well aware of what's in there. I want you to put what's in there in your own words. That's the goal of this assignment. Now, obviously, you have to summarize it because reading each week might be 30, 40 pages. I'm not asking you to write 30 or 40 pages. So when you put it in your own words, you have to take the 30 pages and reduce it down to 2. That's not easy. but it is a great exercise in learning because it means that you can understand what it said and understand what is most important about what it said, and then be able to reduce it down, get the essence of it, get the abstract of it, and put it in your own words, and then you'll remember it quite well, actually. Now, you will notice that there are on Schoology required supplemental videos about each reading. Now, what those are videos that I've produced, and maybe with the help of somebody else, depending on how all this goes, where what I try to do is help guide you through the reading. Now, if you haven't already realized, some of this reading is tough. It's not easy. I've assigned hard books. I'm aware of that. You can say, oh, Professor, you've assigned books that are really, really hard. I'll say, yeah, I know. So no, I'm under no illusion that these are going to be easy. These are tough books. But I've done that for a reason, because I want to give you the theology that you're going to need for ministry. I mean, some of you are pastors or training to be pastors, and for some of you, this is all the education you're going to get. And I want to not hold anything back. I want to give you all that you're going to need in these topics that I've been entrusted with. So the stakes are high. Ministry is important. You're explaining the gospel to people. You're teaching them about eternal things. If there's any sphere in which you want to be well equipped, shown yourself to be, approved for ministry, it's in these things. I've given you hard books, but what I've also done is created a guide for you. The video guide each week is going to try to explain, try to orient you to the reading. My goal, at least in the summaries, with a few exceptions, but generally my goal is not to summarize the chapter for you in the supplemental videos that I've produced, because I want you to read the chapters on your own so that you can create the summaries. I'm not interested in you being able to regurgitate my summaries. I want you to be able to produce your own. So I've tried some of the areas that are really tough. I have summarized for you, and you can use that. But in general, I haven't summarized it. I've just sort of talked around it, tried to help frame the material for you, and giving you guides as to how it's applicable. So watch the videos, then read the material, and let the video kind of guide you into how you should, what parts you should pay attention to. Please do not simply summarize the videos that I've produced. I'm not interested in you just watching the video and then summarizing the video and think that you've completed the assignment. That's not completing the assignment. The video is to help orient you to the textbook so that you can understand the textbook, and then forget about the video. Maybe in some cases they're not even helpful. You need to watch it. It's part of your class attendance, so you have to watch it, or you're not actually completing the class because of the blended structure. But what I'm asking you for in the summary is to summarize the reading. The video is just my attempt to give you the best help I can in doing that. I also want to make a point of telling you that I really do want these on time. I want them done every week. I do not want you to procrastinate, and then try to do them all at the end. You're not going to learn that way. There's a way in which if you do the summaries throughout the semester, what you learn in the book will dovetail with what you're learning in class. There's sort of a back and forth relationship. You'll be able to ask questions about what you're learning in the book as we go through. The class is designed so that you read a little bit each week all the way through, not that you cram it all at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to accept 2 readings late. No question asked. You can just turn them in late. That's okay. I'll accept them. The rest need to be done every week, and I'm just not going to accept them late. I'll accept 2 late. I won't accept more late. That's not to punish you. That's to force you to actually do them each week so that you learn. I'm not interested in setting up arbitrary hurdles for you to jump over just to jump over for the sake of the class. I'm interested in you learning, and I know you're not going to learn if you wait to do it all at the end. So I'll take 2 late, the rest, make sure you do them every week, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay, next subject that you'll be part of your grade is the final. I'm only having one test. It's the final, no midterms, no other tests throughout. It's just one at the end. Now, in that final, what I'm going to be looking for is that you've understood what we've talked about in class and then been able to apply it in a certain way. So the final will be a set of questions, maybe, 5 to 8. I'll ask you to pick a subset of those, 3 to 6, and answer those questions in such a way that demonstrates you've been able to take the material that I've taught and that you've learned in the books and then apply it. Actually, for the final, it'll focus mostly on the lectures. I won't really do much on the books. It'll mostly be on the lectures. And I'm going to be interested in that you're able to apply it. Now, a couple things here to pay attention to. One is that I really want you to learn in the class. Now, doesn't every professor? Yes, but sometimes students approach the lectures as a time where they're going to write down all the material that they can go back and learn later, right? So I did that. I sat in the lectures, kind of paying attention, sometimes not paying attention as much as I should have, and I wrote things down and I thought to myself, yeah, I'm not quite getting it, but I'm writing it down. I'll come back and I'll look at it later. I'll learn it for the test. You know what? You're busy. You don't really have time to go back and look at it later. There's other things that are important for you to do. I want to challenge you to use the time in class to actually learn the material right then. I'm going to go as slow as I need to, and we're going to try to circle back around. We're going to try to use multiple illustrations to get at the same idea. I want to do whatever I can so that you learn the material as I'm teaching it, and then you've got it. You've got it for the test, and more importantly, you have it for life. So I want to challenge you to approach the class time not as the time where you're going to write the material down so that you can learn it later, but approach the class time as a time where you're actually going to engage. You're going to think about the concepts that we're talking about, and you're going to get them. You're going to learn them. You're going to ask questions. You're going to say things like, "Oh, I think I understand. Let me test it. Is this what you're saying?" That's what I want you to do. And the final will not be incredibly difficult if you've learned the material through the class. The second thing I want to say about the final that you would just want to keep in mind throughout the class is that I am really interested in you learning the material that we're teaching, not in you remembering Christian ideas from your life so far. I appreciate the backgrounds that you have coming into this class, and I want to build on those backgrounds in the class discussion. I want to hear your experiences, and that is all good. But I do know that sometimes what students do is, I'll be reading an exam, and it's clear to me that they're saying things that are technically true. It's biblical. It's technically true. It kind of relates to the question that I asked, but I'm thinking to myself, yeah, nothing from here demonstrates that they've actually learned anything in the class. And I'm interested that you've actually learned something in the class. So, no, I'm not saying forget what you learned before. All that is valuable. I trust that you're coming from churches where the Bible is being faithfully taught, and I trust that you have a good background in the Christian life. Praise God for that. We're going to build on that. But I'm also interested in that we really do build on that, and that we in this class, we're going to take you a little bit further and a little bit deeper. We're going to put your foundation, make your foundation have deeper roots and grow up higher. That's the goal in this class. And I want to see that demonstrated in the exam, the final exam, demonstrated because that you're actually learning new things and able to explain what you learned in the class. So keep that in mind as well. The blended assignment. So the final exam is 25% of your grade. And then the blended assignment is 15% of your grade. Now, what I've done is I've scheduled no class for the last week of class. There's the last week of class, and then there's the final. We won't meet for either one of those. The final will be on Schoology. I'll have that posted well in advance. You'll do it at some point before the end of the semester. The week before the final is our last scheduled week of class, I've made that a blended class where we're not actually going to meet. And I've given you a blended assignment to do. Now, a couple of things about this assignment. One is you really have to do it, because not only does it count for your grade, it also counts for your attendance. And if you don't do it, and you already are borderline on not having been to class enough to actually have completed it, then it might actually push you over to the edge and you would just fail the class because you didn't attend. So the blended assignment is necessary for your grade, it's 15%. It's also necessary for your attendance. So please do the blended assignment. If you have to choose between a summary that you need to miss because you ran out of time or the blended assignment, choose the blended assignment. But you can do it anytime you want. You could do it now if you wanted to. That's okay. And then it's knocked out. You have that extra week before final week where we don't have class. You don't even have to do anything for our class. That's okay. It's just giving you a little bit extra time. So pay attention to the blended assignment. The instructions are on Schoology. It's pretty straightforward. You have to listen to something and then give a summary and application. I'm not interested in just a summary, but also an application. Here's where I do really care about what you think and how you can apply this truth in your ministry. And finally, there is a 5% class participation grade. And what I'm looking for, this gets back to the whole idea that I want you to learn in this class, not just write things down or record things to learn later. I want you to learn in this class, and that means that I want you to be attentive. I don't want you to be texting or doing email or other things. I'm going to strongly encourage that you take your cell phone, and unless you're expecting a call or a text that's of great significance, somebody's having a baby, somebody's in the hospital on life support, whatever, things like that arise, I understand. But unless there's some extreme situation, take your phone and don't just put it on silent, turn it all the way off. And that way you won't even be tempted to look at your phone when it vibrates. There's a lot of studies that show that when we're distracted, we miss things, and the thing is we don't even realize that we're missing them. That's why we continue to be distracted. Multitasking really doesn't work too well. So when you're in class, I want you to be there, turn off the cell phone, turn off your have your computer up if you want to take notes, that's fine, but close your email program so that you're not distracted during class. You can be attentive, you can be alert, and that will help you be able to actually learn the material to help you in your final. Well, I just wanted to give you a few things about the class, what I'm looking for. It's straightforward on the syllabus, and we can talk about it on class, but I want to give you this information ahead of time, especially so that you can start working on your first assignment. You got to do a 2-page summary out of your reading this week. You have the video is already up there that's going to give you some information about it. Take a look at that, work on the reading, and you can turn the reading in as soon as you can. I will, I know that we will have some late registration. Not everybody will have gotten the word that we have something to do the first week of class. I will accept the first one late, but if you don't get the first one in on time, you'll already be a little bit behind the game because there's another one due the next week, and you don't want to try to do 2 of these the same week unless you absolutely have to. So work on trying to get that first assignment done as soon as you can, and that will be helpful for you. Let me say one more thing about the reading, especially that first week. As I said, the textbook reading is hard. I'm under no illusion that it's actually easy. I've given you the guide, but I'm not thinking that you'll actually get every single thing. I'm understanding that there's part of it that you might not get, and that's okay. So don't stress out if you feel like, oh, I haven't understood every single thing in here. Depending on your background, that might be more or less difficult to get it all. That's okay. Do your best. Give it a good read through. Pay attention as you're reading through the book, and then give me your summary. And I'm interested not so much in what you failed to grasp, but what you did grasp. I want you to show me what you did learn out of the textbook reading. So that's how we're structuring the class. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, email me, text me. That's fine. I want to make it as helpful as I can for you.